Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'm your host, Sergeant John Perrine, the Public Information Officer for the Indiana State Police Indianapolis District. The Roadshow is brought to you each and every week by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the State Police Alliance. For more information about them, you can visit them at www.indianasfinest.com. Thank you to our partners at Network Indiana and MS Communications for getting us on the radio each and every week, and BK Brendan King sitting behind the control panel, getting us up and on the air. Of course, Tom Trial behind the camera, making us look good on YouTube, and a very, very familiar face to the show because, well, he always says yes when I say, do you want to come on the show?
I can't say no to you, John.
My very good friend, Deputy Chief Mike Pruitt of the Bargersville Fire Department. Thank you for coming.
Always a pleasure.
What were we going to talk about? So you just want me to throw softballs to you, or you want some curveballs?
I'll take curveballs, wherever you want to throw.
No, you know what? It's that time of year, Mike, and we always get together and talk about this because things are changing, to include the weather. And I don't like cold weather. I woke up this morning, I think my car said it was 25 degrees when I left my house at 5 o'clock.
You don't have remote start on your car?
I do not. I actually do not, and my car was not in the garage, so very cold this morning.
Well, I down where I live at, we're used to the cold weather down there and roughing it in life, out in the country, and so, we're pretty used to it. The softies up there in Hamilton County area,
Right. But to get ready for the cold weather,
Yeah.
right? Furnace maintenance. Make sure your furnaces are up to code and up to ready to go. Change that furnace filter. What are some other things that people should be doing around their house just to get ready for this cold weather?
Well, people, we had some warm weather, and then all of a sudden it got cold. And it usually takes a little bit of shock to the system to get people to realize, oh, winter is here. And we usually see the indications of that and how people are dressed. And we start getting those first phone calls to 911 reporting that their house is on fire. We arrive and come to find out it's the furnace. And that furnace is kicking on for the first time in a long time, and probably didn't get it serviced, probably didn't get it cleaned. And so now there's something in that furnace that's not working properly, or there's so much dust and dirt in there that they have a little bit of a flash fire and fills the house full of smoke, and they end up calling the fire department. So we start seeing that in the home. People start sealing up their home really tight because they obviously want to make it energy efficient. But when we seal the home up, we also reduce our ventilation in the house. So we want to make sure we have some good air movement, and that goes back to cleaning your furnace. And also making sure, if you have gas appliances in your home, having a working carbon monoxide detector. Because if you have appliances that aren't burning efficiently, we get a buildup of carbon monoxide in the home, and that you can't smell it, you can't taste it, you can't see it, and it can have very tragic consequences. And I've seen this over the years happen. So having that working CO alarm is very important.
Speaking of carbon monoxide, so over the last week I've been working late at night in my garage, and I went and got one of these contraptions where I've got an LP tank that goes on a gas grill, and then it's got a little heater on the top of it, and I light that, and it heats my garage, right? Do I need to ventilate my garage when I'm using that, or is it okay?
It's never a bad idea. A lot of people that'll use heaters, whether it's one like that maybe operates off of natural gas, or maybe they have a kerosene heater that they like to use in the garage to keep it warm while they're working there. If you don't take good care of those, then you can run into a carbon monoxide issue. And of course, I hope you're not running the car at the same time while you're in there.
No,
okay,
no.
I'm just making sure, because
Come
we
on.
see people start their cars up in the mornings, and
Right.
they crack the garage door about
That's
6
not
inches
enough, huh?
behind the car, and what they don't realize, that carbon monoxide is now feeding into their house because it's probably going through the furnace system if they have a furnace in the garage, and it's just spreading that poison throughout the home. So
Yeah.
How long do you think?
keep a little
How long do you
ventilation.
think a car? And it's probably putting you on the spot. If a car was running in a garage, how long until the CO2 can become deadly?
Well, the CO2, John, and I'll correct you on that. It's carbon monoxide. Okay, CO2.
Wow.
We're not drinking.
Carbon monoxide, sorry,
we're
I
not
don't-
drinking Coca-Colas
I
here.
shouldn't-
We're putting CO2.
I shouldn't be trying to use acronyms.
Oh, I love it when I can get you on something like that. Doesn't happen very often. But
All
I
right,
got you.
all right.
Okay. Anyhow, the carbon monoxide level. I mean, it's It just depends on how tight your garage is. If your furnace is in the garage, but it doesn't take long. And your family could be asleep upstairs. You're getting ready for work. You decide you want to get the car started, and in just a matter of minutes, you're putting this poisonous gas into your home. So you really need to not start the car and let it run. And just move it outside. If you're going to let it run. But then that goes back to a security issue.
Right, now
I was running into somebody's going to steal your car and take off in it.
Hey, this is a little off topic of winter safety, but something I learned from I have another firefighter friend.
Really? Wow.
I don't like to admit it publicly, but I do.
Okay.
And my family was over at his family's house not too long ago. We were talking about something, and he talks about sleeping with all of the bedroom doors closed.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I had never really heard this, and I probably feel like I should have known that, but a fire will spread substantially less quickly with the doors closed.
Absolutely. I've seen this in residence fires during my career where a door was closed and the rest of the house was heavily damaged in fire and smoke, but that bedroom door was closed and you walked into that bedroom and never even knew that there was a house fire.
Is it because of airflow, really?
It basically just keeps that flow path of the smoke and the fire out of that room and seals it off. Yeah, we always recommend that people close their doors, especially when they go to bed at night. I know, a lot of people like to leave the door open. It's just this comfort thing of, being able to hear things in your home. But also, if you don't have a working smoke alarm and you don't close your doors, it's going to let that gas from that smoldering fire or any type of fire starts in your home, and you'll never know it. And without a door closed, you're not going to have that protection. So yeah, it's like night and day on either side of that door.
So we've gone down a rabbit hole here, but let's stay on the topic. Smoke detectors in your house. Is it time to check them? I mean, it's always time to check them, right? But you kind of have a theory on when they should be checked.
Right. If you're listening to us right now, look around. You see your smoke alarm? I want you to get up and test that thing right now. If you can't reach it, take a broomstick. Reach up there and test it, make sure it's working. We should be testing those monthly. The nice thing about the new smoke alarms that come out these days, they have a 10-year battery. So we don't have to worry about changing that battery on our birthday or any special day. 10 years, we're done. If you have an existing smoke alarm, take it down and look at it. It has a manufacture date on the back of it. If it's older than 10 years, you need to replace that. But we should have those smoke alarms in every sleeping space in the home. In the hallways, at a minimum, we know not everybody can go out and just buy smoke alarms for every room in their house, but at a minimum, one on each level of your home outside of the sleeping spaces. And again, testing those, making sure they're working. Kids are always great when you go to talk to them at schools because they'll snitch their parents out in a heartbeat that they take the 9-volt battery out when they burn food. I know you never burn food because you're probably a great cook, right?
Of course.
And so you never have to run into that problem. So those are just some tips on the smoke alarms.
Yeah. So, what about space heaters? I know that's always. I think every year you respond to at least one fire that was started by a space heater.
Yes, it's a given. It's not one of those things of if, but it's when. People love space heaters, especially if they live in a home that's not very efficient. Maybe they're trying to seal off some rooms or just wanting to, say they're in the living room. They want to put a space heater in there, or at night in their bedroom. The problem with space heaters is if we leave them unattended or we put them too close to something that's combustible. So the rule of thumb is keeping it 3 foot away from anything that's combustible, keeping it out of high traffic flow areas. If we do that, we can use them safely. If we go to bed at night, we need to shut these off because now we're going to bed, they're unattended, and I have seen the tragic consequences over the years of someone having a space heater too close to the corner of their bed or too close to a recliner where they had a blanket draped over in the recliner, fell asleep watching TV, and over time that space heater breaks down that material and will catch fire. And these individuals did not even know because it goes back, no working smoke alarm. So they can be very good to keep, a little bit of the chill off, but let's shut them off when we leave home. Let's shut them off when we go to bed at night. People go, well, it gets a little chilly at night. Buy some extra blankets. Snuggle a little closer. Stay warm through the night because they're just very unsafe sometimes if not used properly.
Yeah, and again, it's all about safety. We want to keep people safe at home, particularly, but also in their car. It's that time of year where you need to change the way you're driving, but also you might need to change the supplies that are in your vehicle. Talk about some things that people might need or want to have in their car in case of an emergency.
It's one of those things that people don't think about it till we get that first snow and everybody's driving like they've never driven on snow before. So when we start thinking about things to keep in the car, we want to make sure that, one, we keep that phone charger in there so we always have access to a phone if a car breaks down, maybe we get stuck. Keeping other things in your car like water, blankets, gloves, proper footwear. How many times do we know people leave for work on a snowy day and they got basically their business shoes on, or they got their heels on, they get stuck in traffic, they have a car problem, and they don't have proper footwear to get outside of the car. And that comes back to a whole other topic when we're talking about getting out of your car. If you do get in trouble, we really would prefer you to stay in your car and call for help instead of getting out, because if you have issues and you get out of your car, we all know, we've all seen the stories of other cars losing control and slamming into other vehicles. So it's best just to stay in your car. So keep some snacks, be careful, when you're going out with your vehicle this week, go get it serviced, get the tires checked, get your windshield wipers taken care of, because those are little things that are going to cause you visibility. The fluid. Yeah. How many times do we run out of fluid? We get the chemicals are putting down the road and we can't see. Pretty soon we can't see out of it.
Without it, you wouldn't be able to drive. Yeah.
And clean your cars off. When we have snow, how many times do we see the little? You're not driving submarines, folks.
Drivers.
Yes, they're driving. The submarines driving down the road. They got the little holes in there. Clean them off.
Yeah.
And even clean them off the top of your car, because we've seen the stories of snow as it thaws and it freezes, and then it all of a sudden becomes a giant projectile and it releases from the top of the car and ends up going through somebody's windshield. Nobody wants that to happen.
Yeah, so every time you leave, it's wintertime. Every time you leave, anticipate the roads are going to be slick and drive like the roads are going to be slick, because ice on a bridge will catch you off guard, ice on a curve. So just be prepared for that. And if drive a little bit slower, give yourself a little bit more room. You are going to be safer, and everybody else is going to be safer, and then we won't have to respond to the crash and make cause it even more unsafe to create a crash scene there. So.
Right. The old saying is, "We want to meet you, but not by accident."
That's right.
So.
That's right. That's a dad joke, right?
Yes, it is.
I want to go back to one thing because I just thought of it. Back to the house. I love a wood-burning fire in a fireplace. Mm-hmm. But, some people haven't had those fires for 8 months now. So what are some things people that have a fireplace at home should be doing?
Well, if you have a fireplace, or maybe you haven't used it a long time and you're wanting to have that nice romantic evening at home, and you fire it up and you throw all the wood in there and you haven't had it cleaned and I'm not saying by your neighbor who just thinks he knows, something about cleaning chimneys, get a certified chimney sweep to come out, inspect the flue, make sure everything's clean, because if we don't and we start using that, there's this little thing called creosote that builds up in your chimney. Mm-hmm. And when that builds up and catches on fire, it can literally spread to your home, spread throughout your home, and cause big problems. So you got to make sure you keep it clean. Make sure you're burning the proper cured wood in the fireplace. Don't burn boxes. Don't burn wrapping paper, all that business, because it has glue in it, and that creates more issues in your fireplace.
Yeah, so again, it's all in the name of safety. Get your house ready to go, get your car ready to go, get your mind ready to go.
Absolutely.
Get focused on winter weather driving, winter weather preparedness. It's that time of year, and I can't wait until I have Mike on in March or April and we're talking about getting ready for summer. Mm-hmm. But we've got to get through these cold months first.
We do these cold months with the holidays and everything else. It's pure craziness for a few months here.
Yeah, so holidays are coming up, and we hope everybody has a good one, of course, but it's about being safe.
It is.
So, we're in a different studio today, and I've got this button in front of me that says dump, and I'm not sure really what it does. I'm guessing it would beep you out.
Let's go ahead and push it.
I kind of wish I had an eject button, though. Like, if I had an eject button and I could eject Mike, that'd be pretty impressive. So. But no, Mike, thanks for coming. Always a lot of knowledge and just some simple reminders for folks about what they need to do at home, what they need to do with their car. If you're ever asking yourself, I wonder if that's safe or not. The answer is probably no, right?
Probably not. If you're having to weigh this out in your mind, you're probably right. Probably
Yeah.
not a good choice.
So thank you everybody for tuning in to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. We do appreciate you, and we will see you next time.